with host Reverend Dr. Dan and Toussaint. And the Morning Watch today is brought to you by Honey Bun. Big thanks to our friends at Honey Bun. You like Honey Bun? It's really nice, you know.
When all is done and said, love me shawty bread. You love me shawty what? You love me shawty bread. And it was made by Honey Bun. You love me shawty bread.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube live. In the first watch today, the change from asphalt to concrete roads, pros and cons. In the second watch, should religious education be excluded from the school curriculum, especially in public schools? For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on the suggestion to change from asphalt to concrete roads? Please share your responses on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM, and also whether by post or voice note to WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
This morning's I quote, avoiding failure is to avoid progress. That's what it is.
So
And we don't know who said that.
It's time for us to shove out.
I know.
It's time to shove out Shimani.
Shove out on some good roads, right?
Oh, by the way. Hopefully.
I know.
By the way, Shivani, for the second watch, we'll be discussing whether religious education should be excluded from the school curriculum. What was your favorite subject in high school, Shivani? Was it RE?
No, it wasn't RE. I think literature. Yeah, I think literature was my favorite.
Literature?
Subject. Yeah. Or history, one of them.
Okay. You want to ask me what was...
Yeah, what was...
Okay, you want to ask me what was my favorite subject in first form?
RE?
All right. It was not RE. No, It was PE.
What's PE?
You remember what? Physical education.
Yeah. But never really too like that, you know.
You remember that?
I
never
did.
like that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, when you just want to sleep.
Yeah, that's the general idea. You enjoy it until you sleep, Yeah. We're going to talk about that RE in the second watch. The first watch will be back after this break. When all is done and said, love me shawty bread. You love me shawty what? You love me shawty bread. And it was made by Honey Bun. You love me shawty bread.
Bills to pay and funds to transfer? No problem. I do it all on my time with JN Bank Live Online Banking. It's my simple and secure as that online banking.
Phone credit need a top up? No problem. I do it with JN Bank Live Online Banking.
It's quick and easy with just a few clicks. JN Bank Live, online banking that goes where you go. Sign up today. Visit jnbank.com. JN Bank, we'll help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, the potholes, the craters, the uneven, bumpy road surfaces, in some cases, the no roads. Then there's the dodging and swerving, the constant repairs and overall danger and inconvenience to not only drivers, but all road users. However, for our farmers, at least there may be salvation. In that recently, the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce reportedly suggested that the use of concrete to build roads should be embraced as an alternative to asphalt in the construction of farm roads. But what about the other roads in Jamaica? What are the pros and cons of changing from asphalt to concrete? Well, to answer these and other questions, we have online Mr. Andre Nelson, Industrial and Building Solutions Manager, Caribbean Cement Company, and Mr. John Allgrove, former Chief Civil Engineer at UBC. Good morning, gentlemen.
And thanks for having us.
Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Nelson.
Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing and seeing you now. Okay. Mr. Allgrove. Is Mr. Allgrove on? I'm not seeing him.
He's not on, is
or
it?
hearing him. Mr. Allgrove. Okay. All right, welcome. It's good to have you with us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Now, Mr. Nelson, as far as you are aware, how long has cement from your company been used to construct or repair roads?
All right, let me start by introducing myself. Morning again. So I'm the Industrial and Building Solutions Manager at Caribbean Cement Company. But how did that start, right? I'm a civil engineer.
Yes.
And I studied in Moscow, Russia. Came back to Jamaica 2007. Of course, in Russia, very good education. It's a 5-year degree course. I consider myself a lucky person, right? Very lucky. So I remember in 2010, I went and applied for a scholarship in flood management in London, in Scotland, I should say, right? I came back to Jamaica. I worked at the National Works Agency 2008 up to 2014. And at that time, I was involved with many different projects. But one of the things that I was pushing for at that time was to have better solutions, right? You'd have seen the Bagwat Gorge that was constructed so that the heavy equipment could pass on its way up to the toll road, to have that construction continued, because each time there was a heavy rainfall, you know that Bagwat Gorge was impossible due to the scouring. I mean, in some cases, the 2008 Gustav or tropical storm, it took out section of the roads as from the roadway down to the river invert. So it was massive and extensive repair in the gorge. So the French saw the need and understood that, you know, they need a solution that will last for their construction and also would be remaining for the public to use after they have gone. And they're gone now, and that road is still there. One other project I did was at NWA. Another project at NWA was the Fern Gully, where, you know, I designed the Fern Gully after the Bagwat Gorge. And that one was open 2011. And that road will be there, and I can guarantee 100 years, no potholes, 100 years. And probably after that 100 years, I won't be here more than likely, but it may last another 100 years after that. Yeah. All right. So, so I went to, getting to the Caribbean part. So I went to Cemex Jamaica Limited. I know Cemex is a company in 55 countries, largest concrete and cement company in the world. And they eventually took over Carib Cement. So one of the things I was doing as an infrastructure advisor was to push for concrete solutions. But just to answer your questions, I've been pushing before Carib Cement, and in Carib Cement I pushed even harder. We have done some small projects right across the island. We did Rock Road, for example, in Clarendon, a small section, when they were doing some asphalt works. You know, last week I went there just by chance. I'm driving through those areas, and I stopped, and I could have seen where that concrete solution stood up. where the asphalted sections that were done in 2015, they're in disrepair for the most part, but the concrete is not going anywhere, right? We have done up in David's Hill, we have done sections in Dublin Castle. We have done some small roads right across. We have done in the East Rural, and we have done Denham Farms out in Manchester. And these are solutions that we're gonna be seeing there for tens of years without any need for repair or maintenance. All right, so to answer that,
Why is that? Why does it stand up to the rigors of traffic and all that for so long, as against asphalt?
I mean, the reality is that we know what an asphalt solution is, and we know what a concrete is. When you go on top of your roof, in most cases, not everybody's roof, but the concrete roof, that will withstand a rainfall, it withstand a party on there, it withstand a hurricane, it withstand maybe a stone drop on it or whatever. And if it was, say, for example, the gully made from concrete, it withstand the cars and the trucks that get washed down and the trees and everything. It's a stronger solution, it's a more durable solution. We use asphalt, and we'll continue using asphalt in the country because, one, it is a byproduct of petroleum production. So when we produce petroleum, the bitumen that is left back, we don't export it. It would be stuck in here in Jamaica. And so you convert that to asphalt. So it's always going to be used. But it's not the strongest of solutions. It's just a material that is readily available, and we can quickly do the blacktop on the roads. So we all know as engineers and technocrats that concrete is a much stronger solution. It's a much stronger solution, but there has to be some solution for that bitumen as well. But there is opportunity where it's necessary, where it's feasible, where it's applicable. Of course, we should use it. A section of the road that is going to be scored out, like, where water is going to pass. It should be a no-brainer to our engineers and municipalities and NAA and everybody who's doing it, right? That, put one that's going to last much longer.
I'm not sure if Mr. Allgrove is on as yet.
I'm here. Yes.
Mr. Allgrove on?
Yes.
Oh, Mr.
Yes.
Allgrove, welcome to the program. Good to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, former chief civil engineer at UDC. Mr. Allgrove, let's go back in history. Why and how is it, in the first place, that asphalt became the material of choice for constructing and maintaining our roads? Do you know?
Well, a lot of it boils down to cost, right?
Yes.
Simply that the cost per cubic yard for asphalt concrete and ordinary concrete are about the same, are in the same order of magnitude. All right.
Right.
So I'm have to simplify this because a much more complicated story. But just give you some examples. Right. You can put down 2 inches of asphaltic concrete on a mile base and have a satisfactory road that will last you 30 years. But you can't of ordinary concrete because it's a brittle material. So right there you have about 3 to 4 times the cost of the surface alone you're dealing with using concrete as against asphaltic concrete, right? And I don't know that a lot of people realize this, but the Queens Highway, for example, was built in 1953.
Right,
which had a mile base and 1.5 inches of asphaltic concrete. And that was not repaved for 30 years. Mandeville to Spur Tree was
why it last so long?
What?
Why did it last so long, Mr. Allgrove? Why you explain that?
Well,
anyway, tell you what, Mr. Allgrove, I'm so sorry. We are at a break. Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Phoenix Health and Vision Center, 65 Main Street, St. Anne's Bay, near the St. Anne's Bay Health Center. The only full care eye service center in St. Anne.
The time by
Phoenix Health and Vision Center
is
7:15 on The Sound of Love.
See it, want it, get it with a summer loan from Chris and Charles. Borrow up to $3 million. Get low interest rates and fast approval. Call 876-920-4189 for details or apply online at www.chrisandcharles.com. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Phoenix Health and Vision Center now has 2 locations. St. Anne's Bay, 65 Main Street beside the Health Center. And now Shop 30 Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. You heard me right. Shop 30 Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. The only full-service eye care center for all your designer frames and designer glasses. Plus complete eye care. Book all your appointments now in St. Anne's Bay. Call 876-972-2388. 876-589-8327. For Falmouth and its environs, call this number 876-533-0540. Looking forward to seeing you at both locations. Phoenix Health and Vision Center. Now at Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney.
Diversify your portfolio when you invest in our new Tourism Response Impact Portfolio TRIP.
TRIP will give you access to high-quality tourism investment assets across the Caribbean and Latin America. Take advantage of attractive returns as you invest in our home and our future.
Connect with a wealth advisor at ncbcapinfo@jncb.com to get started. Stratos Alternative Funds SCC, powered by NCB Capital Markets Limited. Opportunity begins with us.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in the first watch, we are discussing the changes from asphalt to concrete roads, pros and cons. We have online Mr. Andre Nelson, Industrial and Building Solutions Manager of Caribbean Cement Company, and Mr. John Allgrove, former Chief Civil Engineer at UDC. Before the break, Mr. Allgrove, you were telling us about the Queens Highway, asking you, how is it that it lasted so long as an asphalted road?
All right.
Go again, Mr.
Hello?
Oh, we're having some technical challenges. Yes, try again. We're having some challenges hearing you. Try again. Go again, Mr. Allgrove. Speak.
Yes, sir. In the 1950s, the Public Works Department acquired Barber Green equipment, which would produce asphaltic concrete and lay it down with a machine, right? And before that, they were using asphalt with semi-penetration macadam and so forth, double surface dressing until that time. But from that time onwards, we started using asphaltic concrete as a driving surface for our roads. And very fortunately for us, we have an abundant supply of marl and other materials that we can use for a base course, which is far less expensive than either asphalt or concrete. So Jamaica proceeded to upgrade a number of our roads, starting from 53 Queens Highway, Linstead to Uaton, 56, etc., coming along. And just to quickly show you, for example, that I was at UDC basically 69 onwards, and we rebuilt all the roads in Kingston Waterfront in 1972, and with a marl base stabilized with 3% of cement, which I can explain to you, and then that lasted for 30 years before it was repaved again. At the same time, from Matilda's Corner to Papine was rebuilt with a marl base and 3 inches of asphalt surface, and that lasted another 30 years before they put another 1.5 inches, 2 inches of asphalt on it. Take care of the.
Stick up in there, Mr.
The asphalt wears down itself.
Allgrove, you hearing me?
All right.
Right. Stick up in there. I want Mr. Nelson to respond to that. Mr. Nelson, your response.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's Mr. Allgrove is correct. I mean, there are roads that would have withstood and have lasted more than 20, 30 years. In my initial introduction, I would never have said anything is bad about asphalt. I have designed many asphalt roads. Asphalt is here and it will stay in Jamaica and it will stay in the world. If asphalt is designed and constructed properly, it can be designed for 10 year, 20 year, 30 year, depending on what you want. The roads that he mentioned, the roads that he mentioned just now, few of them would have had cement stabilized base. So once the base stands up strong, similar to a concrete, and then you put the black or asphaltic concrete wearing course, you have a much stronger surface. That is very correct. And that is something that we encourage every day as well. Because where you can improve on a surface or a structure meaning the entire road from top to bottom, we always encourage it. However, with just doing a concrete surface, where applicable, as I said, it's not gonna be everywhere, we could have a much longer lasting solution, right? And that's why you're seeing, tens of thousands, more than 100,000 kilometers of highways, across the world, or just up north in USA, are concrete, and they're slowly finding those sections which need the more durable solution, and they're doing it. In terms of costs, when you compare initial costs, in some cases, and I've seen studies out of USA, they were cheaper than the asphaltic concrete solution. There are some that were maybe 10%. Yes, because when you're doing a comparison between asphalt as a material versus concrete as a material, you find that the concrete will always appear much more expensive, because you're always going to be doing a thicker concrete than the asphalt, and that's why it lasts longer. In Jamaica, for example, I've seen where asphalt was applied even less than 1 inch. So that's why maybe after the first rainfall, you may find wear and tear and scoring. Was it designed that way? Maybe not. So maybe we need to look at enforcement. Maybe it was designed as a 2 inch, and then somehow the country accepted a 1 inch or a half inch or whatever it is, right? But if it's properly concrete, usually, once properly done, will last you tens of years, going into 50, 60, 70 years, right? That's just the reality. We can't hide from that. We see it from our houses, we see it from our sidewalks, we see it from our structures, our dams and all of that. The concrete is there for tens of years. You can't hide from that. The asphalt we're seeing, we drive on it every day. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Hello?
Mr. Allgrove. Mr. Allgrove, Mr. Nelson has helped us to appreciate the concrete. What are the negatives? What's the flip side of all of this in terms of using concrete?
There's just some things I need to add, sir. First of all, there are situations where concrete is very appropriate, and I'll come to that in a minute. But I just want to mention something. Marl is an excellent base course material if compacted at its natural moisture content of around 9%. If it's way moisture can get at it, the strength deteriorates very quickly. But if you stabilize it with 3% cement, it is not affected by moisture. So like in Kingston Waterfront, which I was responsible on Montego Bay Waterfront and Orchards and so forth, and the road going to Hellshire behind the Great Salt Pond, where you can get water rising up by capillary attraction into the base. That is why I stabilized it with the 3% cement and rendered it unaffected by moisture. In all the other places where you don't have a moisture problem, like Constant Spring Road or Hagley Park Road or the road up to Papine or whatever, the mall is perfectly all right without any stabilization, and it gives you a perfectly good strength for that. But come to concrete, when in fact you have a place like Fern Gully, where in fact there's a large drainage area which will drain down the Fern Gully, and the velocity of the water, the volume and the velocity is such that it will tear up the asphalt. NWA, in fact, have now concreted that, which is an appropriate solution to that problem. And there are some other places like that around Jamaica. Also, there are places...
Mr. Allgrove.
Yes.
Mr. Allgrove, what are the negatives of concrete?
The negative of concrete...
Of using concrete. Right. Anything negative about it? Apart from the cost.
First of all, you can't use the concrete in urban areas where you have underground water, services, water, sewage, telephone, whatever it is, because it's really difficult to have to tear up the concrete to repair it. So you don't use it in urban areas. And a place like from 6 miles to Ferry, where the road is on over an area with very variable conditions with peat underneath there, you don't use a concrete road in that situation because it will break up with the differential settlement. So, so like a lot of other things, there are more details involved than whereas, for example, you have a road like Papine to Gordon Town. As the traffic built up, they just put on 2 inches of asphalt on the existing base, and it's fine. It will last you 20 years or more. So, and as the traffic builds going, say, to Mavis Bank, you upgrade the surface as well by putting on asphalt on it.
And to your first point, Mr. Allgrove, to your first point, especially with the utilities, companies who like to dig up and every now and again and dig up again one side and dig up the other side, then you are saying concrete would not be the best in that regard. So that, Mr. Nelson.
Yeah, I like what he's saying. I mean, and I share all of his points, right? This is the same issue we have in other countries that started concrete services, and they're very advanced now. So of course there will be social impact, there will be lifestyle change. What a concrete solution in the urban area does, it has forced the utility companies to be more organized and start having utility corridors and those type of things. So it's not to say it can't go there. It should go there if it's applicable and can be a much longer lasting solution. And I like what he says. You can do the asphalt, for example, and it's going to last for 20 years. Yes, but if you can get a solution that's going to last you 100 years with zero maintenance, which one do we prefer? So again, I would say, the asphalt, when designed properly and constructed properly, you will get your 10 to 20 years. If a concrete is designed and constructed properly, you will get 20 to 100 years. We need to choose.
Let me come back for 1 second. We need to understand that we have
1 minute, Mr. Allgrove. 1 minute.
Miles of main roads on the NWA, and we have another 5,500 miles of parish council roads in this country. And we cannot contemplate concrete surface for any of these roads, except in very specialized locations where you have water running on the road constantly. Yes, concrete the road there. And I can pick out specific areas. For example, you're going to Mavis Bank at bottom Craig Hill corner, there's a spring there. So you concrete that corner, right? But the rest of the road, you have to maintain it as asphalt surface, because we cannot afford 6-8 inches of concrete all over Jamaica. It is just not feasible. Public works.
Can't afford it.
I welcome persons first to look at the numbers, and you'll be surprised. We can achieve much more. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it there.
If you can build concrete
Mr. Allgrove, time is up on us.
All right, sir. All right.
Mr. Allgrove, I have to cement this discussion. All right. Yeah, man.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen,
Thank you
for
for
joining
having
us on the
us.
production.
Thank you for having us. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Listeners,
Okay.
the morning watch will return in just a moment.
JN Auto Loan, helping you on your journey. Roll out and make a statement in your brand new vehicle.
The time by JN will help you find a way is 7:31 on the Sound of Love.
The Students Loan Bureau turns 50 and it's a golden celebration. Over the years, we've transformed dreams, accelerated change, and contributed to our nation's development.
With SLB, I was able to finance my future, and now my daughter can chase her own dreams.
The Students Loan Bureau has been part of so many success stories, and we are proud to spend the next 50 years promoting equal access to brighter futures. Thank you, Jamaica, for entrusting us with your dreams and for 50 stellar years.
When all is done and said, love me shorty bread. You love me shorty what? You love me shorty bread. And it was made by honey bun. You love me shorty bread.
Hello, today we're going to be making breakfast and preparing a lunchbox for school. Let's start with some sugar and salt and wash it down with a nice big glass of more sugar. And now for the lunchbox. Let's put in saturated fat, more salt, and sugar. Foods high in salt, fats, and sugar increase the risk of hypertension, obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Now more than ever, we have the right to know what's in our food. Give us warning labels on the front of our food packages.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, Ministry of Health and Wellness, and partners.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and the others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, 700,000 doses in limbo. Vaccines at threat of being dumped as Jamaica awaits U.S. green light. Can you imagine? 700,000 doses. Also, in the Gleaner, Jamaica fingered as dumping ground in global counterfeit ring. And we see also in the Gleaner, 48 billion, that's with a B, 48 billion leak. Water thieves drain NWC coffers annually, innovating to avoid detection. In the Observer, Customs Agency destroys US 60 million worth of counterfeit goods. And we see in the Observer as well that COVID vax fears eased with 65,000 doses from Mexico arrived yesterday. And then concrete, we're talking about concrete roads. Concrete road to solve flooding problem in Quarry. Those are some of the major headlines in our newspapers. Well, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question. What are your thoughts on the suggestion to change from asphalt to concrete roads? Please share your responses on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM, and also whether by text or voice note to WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. Soon come back.
It's your time. Oh my young people, it's your I Love Summer Youth Fellowship Takeover. Join Shavonnie Blair this Friday, July 2 inside Fellowship Fridays for our Youth Fellowship Takeover at the Bethel United Church of Jesus Christ Apostolic in Denby, Clarendon. Love 101 FM takes on the road to join the fun, worship, and excitement at the Bethel United Apostolic Church in Denby, Clarendon this Friday at 7 p.m. for a takeover. Be sure to tune in live to our Facebook page as we worship together youthfully. That's our I Love Summer Parish Spotlight Youth Fellowship Takeover this Friday at 7 p.m. in Denby, Clarendon, right here on the family station Love 101. You can't afford to miss it. Has staying at home increased the tension between you and your partner? Has it exposed the love or hidden cracks in your marriage? Are you growing apart or growing closer? Well, when it's nice, you gotta do it twice. Listen for the rebroadcast inside the truly marvelous program To Have and to Hold this Thursday, July 1, with host Colleen Beckles and guest Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint as they take a look at reasons you should consider marriage therapy. That's a rebroadcast of To Have and to Hold this Thursday, July 1 at 5:30 p.m. on the family station Love 101.
This summer just got hotter inside Engage this Friday. Join us as we see what's hot this summer on the movie scenes. Did somebody say summer body? Stay tuned as we find out how to lose weight the right way and stay hydrated for this hot season. Get your AirPods ready because we've got a summer mix just for you. We've got your updates and upcoming events by Sparrow Open as they tell us what to do in the coming weeks. Engage comes your way every Friday afternoon at 5:30 on the family station Love 101.
Welcome back. You're tuned in to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's join Shivani for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What are your thoughts on the suggestion to change from asphalt to concrete roads?
All right, a comment here from Cherry. She says concrete road would be better for farm roads and some flood-prone roads, as it is more durable. Yeah, I think that's all I'm seeing right now.
All right, thank you to the responder and to Shivani. Well, we are now going into our second watch, and for many years, religious education has been somewhat of a staple in the curriculum of many schools in Jamaica. With the so-called increased secularization of the world, there are those who are questioning the importance and relevance of subjects such as religious education being taught in our schools. And so this morning we ask, should religious education be excluded from the school curriculum, especially in public schools? To discuss this issue, we have joining us Deacon Ronnie Thwaites, former Minister of Education and an attorney at law, and Ms. Carol Narcisse, civil society advocate. Good morning to you both.
Very good morning. Good morning. Morning, Ronnie.
Hi, Carol. Okay, good to have you with us. Let me begin with you, Deacon Thwaites. What do you know or believe was the rationale for the inclusion of religious education into the curriculum of our schools in Jamaica?
The very foundations of Western civilization are to be found in the Judeo-Christian principles, and with the development of societies based fundamentally on those assumptions, the rule of law, human rights, in all of their range, political, social, economic. The foundations not only are combined with those, if you wish, secular objectives, which are really not secular, they're secular in appearance only, and also in the faith systems which were dominant and still are dominant at this time. Please remember, if you just want a reference to Jamaica, that the churches in Jamaica own or sponsor half of all the public schools in this country.
Half?
Yeah.
Interesting. Miss Narcisse?
Yes.
Still with us? Yes. As an educator and social commentator, what were or are your concerns in this regard?
I believe that education is
is the thing that we have to keep in the forefront of our mind. And so education does not mean, or it doesn't have to mean, indoctrination, conversion to any one school of thought. It is intended to be the space in which we as human beings get to share and learn about the world that we're living in, about the systems, processes, and possibilities, because really education is also where we get to invent, create, innovate, etc. So with that background, religion, first of all, there are lots and lots of religions in the world, and spiritual beliefs and faith expressions in the world. And so just as it would for any other subject, education has an obligation to expose learners to the range and wealth of human experience as it is organized around faith, spirituality, religion, etc. Where I have a challenge is where religious education has been reduced to education about one religion. I think that that is a disservice to education. I think that that goes in the opposite direction of what education is about. So if young people are learning about religion, they should learn, it seems to me, about the range of beliefs, the range of practices, the history, the sociocultural elements of religion, the why of religion as that why is expressed across different cultures and different peoples, so that as we do with history, we don't just learn one aspect of history. We learn the whole swathe, or as much of the whole swathe as we can. I think we have a similar responsibility to young learners, to learners of any age group.
And is that not happening now?
Religious education. Sorry?
Is that not happening now in the teaching of religious education, would you say?
I think that the tendency is towards Christian education, Bible study, Bible knowledge, and less about the religion as an area of human experience and endeavor, and understanding how that differs across the world.
Deacon Thwaites, your response to that?
I think if Clara takes a closer look at the religious education syllabus now, it is really broadly about comparative religion. I accept that young people should be exposed to the broadest notion of religious faith, and also its groundings, its foundation as the rationale for civic behavior, for humane conduct, for principles like the common good. No apologies, however, for emphasizing one particular religious culture.
No apologies, you said?
No apologies. No. That's consistent with our history and with the faith system of the majority of our people. Were we in a Muslim-dominated country, then of course it would be quite different. And also, on a very utilitarian basis, the foundations of Judeo-Christian faith are very serviceable for uplifting society, for human life. And there should be no effort, however, to push a particular denominational position. One of the examples that I like to give is former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, who was my colleague at St. George's College, a profoundly Catholic school, where he will assert that he, although not a Catholic, benefited from the strong ethical basis of all subjects, infused in all subjects there, but was never persuaded to become a member of the Roman Catholic Church. That is
Tell you what, Deacon, could you just hold that thought? We're at break. We'll be right back.
This is Love 101. It's now 7:45.
You know how Jamaican people do everything extra, right? So why should planning your retirement be any different? Introducing JNGI Silver Shield. 2-in-1 coverage for motor vehicle and home including contents. See? Extra! Imagine 25% JN member discount, emergency roadside assistance, accident forgiveness up to $1 million and more. JNGI Silver Shield. Exclusively for members of the Caribbean community of retired persons. Visit jngi.com. JNGI. We'll help you find a way. A member of the JN Group.
When all is done and said, love me shorty bread. You love me shorty what? You love me shorty bread. And it was made by honey bun. You love me shorty bread.
I always do my best to stay in control of my expenses. So with Flow, I added my mobile to my home internet service and elevated my savings. I get 50% off my mobile plan each month. Yeah man, I get a simple, predictable mobile bill of $1,600 plus GCT and never signed a contract nor made a deposit. And you can get this too. Add your mobile to your Flow home internet for elevated savings of 50% off your mobile plan each month. Visit the Flow store or discoverflow.co to sign up today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and for this, the second watch, we are asking the question, should religious education be excluded from the school curriculum, especially in public schools? And we have online Ms. Carol Narcisse and Deacon Ronnie Thwaites. Deacon Thwaites, before the break, you're expressing no apologies for the emphasis on Christianity in Jamaica religious education. Go ahead, sir.
No. Look here, what is holding back our country and our people now is a reduction in our acceptance of the principle of the common good. We have lurched into a social
hearing you.
And a political economy of yes, can you hear me?
Right. Deacon Thwaites, we're not hearing you.
Can you
right now?
Can you hear me now?
Oh dear. Deacon Thwaites, could you repeat what you just said half a minute ago, please? We didn't hear at all. Half a minute ago. Could you repeat what you just said?
Are you hearing me now?
Right. Yes, hearing you now. Yes, go ahead now.
Oh, my assessment of our problem in Jamaica now, main problem, is a weakening of our acceptance of the principle of the common good. Instead, we have a rugged individualism which dominates our social relations and our political economy. The way, the truth, and the light of Jesus' life is the antidote to that, and that we should expose our children to it is essential. Others will see the necessity or the opportunity of pointing to the example, for example, of Mahatma Gandhi or of the Prophet Muhammad. That's fine. But in our context, given our belief system, given the language we use, it is perfectly appropriate and necessary for us to emphasize the values of self-respect, of respect for others, of the sanctity of human life, which is inherent, the principle of equality of opportunity and the equal value of every human person, regardless of race or class, which is inherent in the Christian doctrine. Certainly the schools in the church that I am a member of are emphasizing this as much as we emphasize any literacy or numeracy. Otherwise, we will have a set of educated Lego beasts in our communities, which will do us no good or them no good.
Miss Narcisse, your response?
An understanding of the common good, of the need to be kind, just, fair, thoughtful, respectful of others, respectful of the earth and of all the things that are on the earth, respectful of place and time and universe. And these are not values that are unique to Christianity. So I think that's an important, I think the values are an important set of values, and it's important for us to learn that these are values that run across various belief systems, cultures, communities of the world, that it's not unique to a particular. Now, so I would want to make a distinction between the teaching of values and the awareness of faiths and religions and so on. I want to make a distinction between our need to do that and our need to do it only or predominantly in the context of one worldview, of one religious construct. I do not believe that these values are values that we have to reduce to one religious outlook or construct. That, in fact, that is ahistorical and unfactual. So I think that we can achieve both. We can achieve the reinforcement of the values that really operate as the glue of society, the values that enable us to live with each other peaceably, fairly, one being concerned for the other, etc. I think we can do that, and it's important for us to do that. It's important for us to construct our society along those value lines, as Ronnie is outlining. I think where Ronnie and I may depart a little bit is in the notion that it is to be presented as a predominantly Christian outlook in the context of something called religious education in school.
Yeah, what's wrong with that, Ms. Narcisse? That's a question. What's wrong with
with what?
With that emphasis within the this cultural paradigm that we're in, Christianity?
Because we're trying to teach something called religious education. And, we're not teaching Christian education, we're teaching religious education. So in the context of teaching religious education, I believe that it's important for us to tell the truth, which is that there are principles and values that cut across several religious practices, religious worldviews, etc. I think the church has its role to play in reinforcing our churches, faith organizations, have a particular role to play in promoting, reinforcing the teachings of that church, of that religious grouping. But I think in the context of education now, we have a broader mandate, a bigger mandate that I think we would be losing something in the enterprise called education if we reduce information to whatever is what we think is supposed to be the predominant cultural value.
Yeah. Deacon Thwaites, there's a concern, I'm sure you have it as well, that for many persons it amounts to proselytizing when they are in process of teaching religious education. And there's also another concern which I want you to both of you really to comment on, that there are those who believe it's a waste of time and effort, because in terms of certification and scope for employment after, what does RE do in that scheme of things? Deacon Thwaites, you first.
Those who use religious education as an avenue for proselytization are defeating their own purpose, and I really think that we're largely beyond that now. My own lifespan reflects on what it was like 50, 60 years ago in Jamaica, where that was much more of a tendency now. The danger right now is a flaccid, value-less. It's not liberalism. It's a contrary to that, where anything you feel like.
That's secularized, isn't it?
You do. There's a remarkable statement that one of our prominent entertainers said recently that should worry all of us. This is a very fine lady, I'm sure. But what she says is that in this generation, what she must do is do what she feel like, and she's not really interested in what others have tell her ought to be the case. It's her own. Here she says, whatever I want to do, I do it. People should be free in their own life. I'm not standing for the things they stood for. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. This generation is like that.
How you respond to those who say it's a waste of time? It won't help with certification or employment in the future.
If that's your purpose in education, then the society is in a dark corner. If all you're looking for is certification, then you are demeaning humanity, and you're demeaning the hope of any kind of wholesome relationships within society. For God's sake, people who feel like that, please don't have any children.
Miss Narcisse, your take on that?
I'm with Ronnie on those sentiments. We've been in an era, and it's getting more pronounced, more entrenched. We're in an era of a reductionist, anti-intellectual, anti-thought, purely utilitarian, purely practical, purely what I can get out of it for myself as an individual. So it's an anti-community, anti-collective, really just anti-human, sustaining,
principles,
values.
Yes.
And that really is becoming quite entrenched. It's very much the essence of what drives our politics, what drives our economic development approach, what drives our relationship to the environment and environmental protection and sustainability. No, it's a slash and burn. Everyone is out to eat a food. So, and whatever happens to the next person is their business. That's not an approach to life that we can sustain. The earth can't sustain it. Human existence can't sustain it. So there is need for us to, in our communities, in our families, in all of our institutions, workplace, church, etc., we need to be reinforcing the why. Why it is important to care about each other. Why it is important to care about the earth. And to understand that our place in the world is not just a function of what work we can get. And our role as human beings is not just a function of occupation and what money we can earn. So, but those are conversations that we have to have at every level of the society, and education has a critical role to play in engaging us in these conversations about who we are as human beings, what is our place in the world, what is our function in the world, our capacity in the world, our ability to make a difference in the world. Why should we be interested in making a difference? For whom? For how do we sustain life, etc. Those are very important discussions. Education has a role to play. Where I think we must keep, in terms of religion and religious education, it is that we should not repeat the same error that we're criticizing. We should not make of education a reductionist space where only one view dominates everyone else and needn't have any does not express sufficient respect and regard for the multiplicity of belief systems that could be in the very classroom.
Well, may I?
Yes, okay.
I'm agreeing with Carol, and I'm just wanting to say that without falling into the danger, which I don't think is really present with us.
Have half a minute, Ronnie, have half a minute.
What a wonderful example of that antidote that she speaks of us needing is the way, the truth, and the light of Jesus, who came to live for us all, who with all his power, became poor and gave his life so that others might be saved, that's fantastic. If others find a different a Messiah, prophet, to incarnate the same values, then I bow respectfully.
Okay. Well, thank you both for joining us this morning. A very informative, insightful discussion. And I wish for you a productive day and a blessed day. All the best.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks,
Thank you for the discussion. Thanks, Ronnie. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for joining us this morning on the Morning Watch. For information how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-959627. You can listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app and watch it on Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube Live. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Ms. Kathy Gale, and to our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dylan Toussaint, handing you back to Love in the Morning with Ronnie Blair.
And the Morning Watch today was brought to you by Honey Bun. Big thanks to Honey Bun.
Stay inside and shop online at Hardware and Lumber.